I'm with Todd Anderson from Oregon State University. Tell me again what what division you're with.
So I'm with the OSU Small Farms. I'm an assistant professor of practice, and my background's in horticulture.
He's coming out to the property today to look at our old apple orchard. Just rejuvenate this old apple orchard because it's been in neglect for a lot of years. We want to turn it into a food forest. So this year we had some pigs in this area, and they were doing their job, rooting up stuff, and then after that we had cattle and horses grazing. So we've got that added to the microbiome of the soil so far. And
you have some vegetables that self-seeded or
oh my gosh,
seed in? Yeah.
These are self-seeded lettuce. Oh my God,
and they're good looking lettuce too.
Self-seeded lettuce. What is this? Buckwheat?
Buckwheat. Yeah. A lot of times people use them as they're a great cover crop, and as you can see, they attract a lot of beneficial insects. And then there's some peas.
Oh my God.
I can see some fava bean, I think, or I might be wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're starting a food forest already.
Their property, and then they'll have an old orchard.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what do I do with these trees? Can I make them productive again? Right. And I think these are great examples of what a lot of people see. They look like they've been cared for like at least in their establishment phase, they're really well cared for. And I think they'll probably just need a little bit of hacking back this winter and fall in the next few years, and we can definitely get a plan together, and that should be a very helpful workshop for people. You have the parking, which is great. You have a nice wide area, which is fantastic. So, and you have a few old trees. I think would be great to have some hands-on demonstration.
4 trees here. So we have these 3 that we can see right here, and then that big bush over there, that's actually an apple tree.
This is good to have kind of a variation in where things are at. So I think with these couple different trees at different stages of how they're maintained, I think this should be a great demonstration area.
I think this is used for habitat. I think the deer kind of hang out in here, and the turkeys and stuff. Look at this area underneath here. I kind of don't want to disturb it.
Well, not everything has to be about like maximizing production. You might have different goals. So if something like this, you want to keep this sort of more of a habitat kind of at the it's at the end of the food forest. I'm guessing this would be at the very edge.
Yeah.
We could definitely think of like, okay, maybe we prune away the dead wood just so we keep the tree healthy, prune away any dead wood, open up a little bit, but primarily leave it for whatever. Like this is I think it creates a little bit of shade depending on your intention and use.
Yeah.
So I think we can always shape the plans around.
I love that. This is an eco farm and wildlife sanctuary. So this is like a natural sanctuary for deer and turkey. This over here is a woodland area. This is a second, like kind of the first woodland area, but it got terribly damaged in the ice storm. This was thick, kind of dense, and now it's just a mess. So this is still an area that we need to clean up. And I want to keep it a habitat, and kind of a vegetative buffer. What are some of your thoughts on that?
I think that's great. You're cleaning out some wood that might not be the best to leave in this wood lot just for the potential fire risk and health. But I mean, some of the biomass is great to leave for it to go back into the soil. We have a expert, I think she works in Lane County as well, with small woodlots. So I think she might be a great person to maybe get just look over like a management material.
We'll walk around the other side of this, and you'll see what contributed to the destruction of this area, because there was a big heritage oak tree that was uprooted. We have these 2 huge heritage oaks that split in half, literally.
Nice, no?
Yeah.
I see, yeah.
Just learning what a food forest is. I think isn't it just a garden?
Yeah, so it's a garden. It's going with just different layers, making sure like you have a canopy, a mid layer, a ground layer, and then the idea is everything's cyclical. Everything's cycling back into the garden itself.
Okay.
You can have a very high degree of diversity of plants in a small area.
That's what I would like, and I'd like to see some other stone fruits here.
A lot of Italian plums are great.
Oh, good.
A lot of people actually grow them, and they'll keep living on without extra irrigation.
Oh.
So they're very hardy.
Oh,
so
good.
I can get you a list of some plum and cherry recommendations.
Oh, and persimmons?
Persimmons grow great here.
Oh, good.
And very low Persimmons grow great, low maintenance. We don't have a lot of pests that affect them.
Oh, good.
So that's actually a fantastic choice.
That's a good one.
Loquat as well.
Yeah,
but
I like loquat.
the only problem is sometimes we have late frost in the because they flower so early in the year or very late in the winter. We tend to have late frosts that affect the harvest. If you're going to do dry farming, a lot of times they'll keep this grass very low, or they would even till it just so it's not competing with the tree during the summer. But a way to have more diversity is if you have irrigation, and if you're not selling the produce. I don't know your water rights.
We have water rights for 21 acres.
Okay. You have a lot of flexibility.
Okay.
So things like the Italian plums and the apple, once they're established, they're fine. But if you want to integrate like the persimmon and the loquat, they would need extra, or the figs, they would need extra irrigation. Those might be a great overstory or canopy tree. So you have to think, you're thinking like you want an overstory and then a mid layer, so that could be certain tall vegetables that grow in between while the trees are establishing. You can grow vegetables in between, and that can just be as easy as what you saw over there. Just sprinkle some vegetable seeds out. And again, if this isn't for sale, you have a lot more flexibility. A lot of times people really love you pick berries.
UK, I lived there for 5 years, and
they love berries.
Oh my gosh, it was so great. You could pick gooseberries and blackberries, and it was so fun.
You can grow all of those here. Elderberry might be a lot of people actually really like growing elderberry because the medicinal value. People create those cordials or syrups, or they use the flowers and even in fritters or in different
they're beautiful
ways. Yeah, and they're very hardy here. And then you can do an understory of a ground cover of say something like a nitrogen fixer like clover, or and then you can do vegetables in the spots that aren't in between the trees.
So what is it called again?
Syntropic agroforestry. So if you imagine in a forest you have different succession of plants, so you'll have maybe some annual plants that'll come up, and then that'll prepare the ground for some longer lived perennials, and then eventually you'll get a tree cover. So it kind of takes advantage of that idea where when a place is young, you can plant the trees and the vegetables at the same time. The first few years it's going to be mostly harvest from the vegetables, but eventually you're going to have a tree coverage with some trees being for fruit, some being for things like fiber, or even as biomass. So you'll be chopping some of the tree. The prunings will go back onto the rows, so it feeds itself.
Okay, love that.
And then a lot of times they'll run livestock in between. Both creates more nutrients for shade for the livestock and nutrients for the forest, for the plant, for any great shady spot.
Yeah.
And in the winter, because the pruning would be in the winter.
This barn sounds really cool in the rain.
Oh no, I'm sure. I love the metal roof.
Yeah.
I see one chicken, but I was wondering, are you planning on having a poultry or?
There's actually about 20 chickens out in the pasture. There's a chicken tractor out there.
Oh, wonderful.
And this one wandered over and discovered that there's a barn.
Chickens are often worked into in traditional food forests. So.
Love it.
And I think as long as we stick to a rough plan on that, and once we kind of have a plan, we keep it within, I don't want to say boundaries, but kind of keep it like, okay, we want to steer it towards this way. I think that you can have a lot of success for your goals.
Great. Love it.